All right. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me. Welcome to the Howard Experience Show, featuring me, James Howard. Gonna just start setting everything up as usual. Get the word out if you want to tune in for today's live show with Joline, and Pinko, streaming to us from all the way from Georgia. We're gonna get her in here. We're gonna start talking. Got some music in the background first while I set everything up, and grab a coffee, grab a drink, grab a friend, and be ready for the great discussion that we're going to have about a lot of different things, specifically getting through adversity and keeping the faith. And we'll be right back. Let me just check all my stuff on my side first. And we are on live. Just gonna check the sound. I'll try to play the music a little loud so I can get the sound check done. And we are on live. You can hear that in the background. You got the music. Then it goes through this mic, through my laptop, and I can confirm that there's a connection. And we're good to go. Once again, you're at the Howard Experience Show, session number 9. Yep, we've made it to session number 9, folks. We got a great guest coming in tonight, streaming to us live from Evans, Georgia, Joline Pinko. She has a great story to tell, and we'll get her in real soon. I'm just gonna hit this music real quick so it's not so loud. And I'm going to check if she's coming in. I'm going to send her that invite. I think that's her. Send it to her right now. She's receiving the invite, and we're going to connect live, folks. Once again, if you're just joining us, welcome. And there she is. And that's how it works. Just like that. Just like magic. Smooth, right?
Yes, I guess we just didn't, I couldn't get it right earlier today. I don't know what it was on my friend's on my side.
Usually sometimes, let me just turn this off real quick. Usually sometimes that's, like I was saying, is a technology aspect of the, Samsung and iPhone and those kind of things. It does happen. And the last thing I heard, they were working out that kind of software where those different platform devices could find each other and connect, and something as smooth as this, as we talked about earlier, all you saw was that little blue invite box, right? And you just press it and we're good to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Easier.
I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna learn.
Awesome.
Even though I'm technically challenged, I'm gonna God will put the right people in front of me to figure it out.
Well, we got you. And again, thank you for coming to the show, and thank everybody else for starting to tune in now. Once again, this is the Howard Experience Show, session number 9. I'm in Guam. Joline here is in Evans, Georgia, and she is our special guest for today. As we put up in some of the ads that went out through Facebook, that were all organic, by the way. That was, we put that out there. It's for the people that want to tune in and listen, because that's just kind of the things that we do here at the Howard Experience Show. We've gone as far as talking about ancient civilizations to the everyday person out there in the world, and now we got a great story, a message that I tuned into when Joline did her live talk a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She did that a couple of weeks ago. I was moved. I called her. We know each other from our work past, and now we're here today. on the screen share, because I think that message needs to be talked about, and it needs to be shared with as many people as possible. And I really appreciate you coming on here and doing this for us here today, Joline. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you asking me and allowing me the opportunity. One of the things that I've been working through, and I don't even know how to explain it, but one of the paths to healing is to work on the things that are your weaknesses, emotional traumas, things like that. And one of the things about my personality is not to say the things that I really want to say and to speak my truth. And it just kind of, even though I really want to say something, whether it be to one person or to a lot of people, I know it in my head, I feel it in my heart, and then it just kind of comes right here and then gets stuck.
Yeah.
This is where all the stuckness was. So one of the things I've been working through is to no longer be silent, no longer hold back those things that I know people need to hear, no matter what people think of you or what the reaction may be. And so here I am. Thank you for helping me along that part of my journey.
No problem. Do it anytime. Anytime you need to say something, message out there. And again, this is kind of the Howard experience, the positivity. Excuse me, I got a little butterfly there. The positivity and what we want to spread as far as people listening to the stories and believing that that they can help themselves as well, because that's what it kind of boils down to, right? You can talk as much as we want and give the guidance and show the different doors and the opportunities. But if you actually don't yourself, you the watcher, you the listener, take that opportunity yourself and push it forward, then we have to get back to square one and find out why not.
Right. And so thank you for those that are joining us. I see several of my friends coming on from different parts, here in Georgia, and a couple from other states. I saw several chime in, even a friend from California. Hi, Liz, Jennifer, and Kelly, and my mom just joined. I didn't even know she knew how to work Facebook.
Awesome.
On too. So, and if I missed your name, I'm sorry. I don't even know how to go back to look at the people who joined.
There's many there's many people watching, and there'll be many people watching later today and this morning all week. So let's do what we talked about, and let's get the message flowing of what.
Well, tell me. I'm an open book, so whatever. I'm happy to share whatever. If people have questions, I'm happy to. I'll try and keep up. I guess reading the questions. Will I be able to see what the comments are when they come in?
You should be able to see that if you have your laptop open. You should be able to see those questions that pop up from the guests.
Only if I have my laptop, not what I'm doing, what I'm seeing on the phone.
You may be able to see it on your phone, because I do see some people that are chiming in, but I haven't seen any questions or anything like that just yet. What I suggest is we do the talk, and while we go, people will ask the questions, and those are things we can answer after the cast is done, so we can just kind of focus on what we need to that message we need to talk about to everybody who's tuning in, because there's a reason why you're tuning in.
Okay.
How to do one at a time. Yeah, don't do one at a time, because we're going to be here all night. Like, okay. And it's no disrespect to the viewers or watchers. It's just how this conversation needs to flow. It's we're not in a boardroom. We're not doing anything we're just two people. We're talking about the situation. We're talking story to hopefully influence others to take different steps to heal themselves and to believe in a higher power that I know you're going to get into.
Absolutely. So I guess there is a share button. So if people want to share it so that their friends can be join in on the live, that'd be awesome too. The more people we can get the message out to, the better. So share. And I'm
Definitely.
an open book, Jake. You just tell me whatever you want me to talk about, whatever you.
Let's probably start with the backstory and how did it all illuminate itself to be on this path that you've told a lot of people already in story as well as a conversation, and let's start there. Let's start there.
Okay. I guess it really starts in October of 2015. My husband was, we were going to a gym, and this gym is called Orange Theory. And at Orange Theory, they do heart rate monitoring. And basically, you're really just in competition with your own self. And you get up to this certain zone, the burn zone. And long story short, my husband was taking his own max heart rate. We were at home, and he was taking his pulse on his neck. And I came into the room and I said, "Oh, I want to do mine too." And I put my finger in my neck, and obviously you can see a big lump here. And it wasn't this big before. But when I did this, I actually felt a hard, something hard there in my lymph nodes. I immediately called my doctor friend. She's my pediatrician, and we have a relationship, and we're friends first, doctor and everything else second. And I called her and I said, "Okay, I have a hard lump in my neck that I feel. I don't see it. Should I be worried?" And she said, "Well, you can get a swollen lymph node for a lot of reasons. And one of them being either you're coming down with something, you just got over something." And I thought, I feel great. I didn't feel anything, like I hadn't been sick in a really, really long time. And so I don't, people catch things, and I feel like it just goes over me. I'm not usually sick or feel bad. And so that was in October. Later that month, I found out I was pregnant. So I just thought, you know what? Your immune system in your body kind of goes wacky when you're first pregnant. So I just attributed it to that was my immune system working. I don't know. I didn't know much about the lymphatics. And so I just kind of forgot about it and put it to the side. And I'm not a worrier. And I don't, going to the doctor for every little thing is not my thing. And so fast forward to January of 2016, and I'm not even a Facebook, I pop on and off Facebook every now and then, but I don't ever really scroll it to see what everybody's life is going, I don't spend hours and hours doing that. I had six children at the time, and I just don't have the luxury to, run the house and wash the clothes.
Scroll through the Facebook all day.
But one night I was up really, really late. This was I don't know, somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. And I happened to be scrolling Facebook. And I mean, it actually really chokes me up right now because I still remember it like it was just the other day. And I noticed a friend of mine, her name is Judy. I don't know what her married name is, but it was Judy Charforus, I believe. And we went to high school together and we graduated together. And I saw condolences to her husband and on her page, and I thought, condolences, what happened? And I, did a little bit more digging, pressed on her Facebook page, her husband's Facebook page, and saw that she had battled breast cancer for several years. She had 3 kids, and it finally took her. And that was early January of 2016. And I remember lying on my couch thinking, oh my God, she was like at least, somewhere around 37, because I was 37 at the time. And we graduated together. And I just remember she was just a little ball she was really short, and she was just always smiley. And I just remember her. And I thought, 37, she was way too young to die. And I think really oblivious too to like the cancer thing, because, if it's not in your own family, or if it's not someone that that's really close to you that has cancer, you kind of just tune out to what's going on around you. And I was just in my own little world, and I thought, gosh, is breast cancer still killing people? And just all these emotions ran through my head, and I thought, I know that the cancer rate is 1 in 2 and 1 in 3. So between 1 in 2 and 1 in 3, that's a really high cancer rate, but you don't ever think it's going to be close to you. And so at that moment, I thought to myself, and I know it was the Holy Spirit who said, check yourself. And then I remember feeling my lump, and because once I had forgotten about it in October, that was it. So I remember that night going on to Google Doctor, right? We shouldn't use Google as our doctor, but I'll just put that out there. But I did, type in hard lymph node, And I didn't just look at one page. I looked at page after page after page. And of course they all said the same thing. People get swollen lymph nodes for all these different reasons, but if it's hard and it doesn't move, then it could be cancerous. And I thought, that's sad. Mine's hard and it doesn't move, but it's surely not cancer. Yeah, no, not me, right? And so I just kind of put it to the side and didn't even think, and I kind of worried about it a little bit, but then I thought, no, because we always think not me. And so I would say a few days later, it just kept sticking in my mind. Check yourself. And I thought, I'm getting ready to go on a business trip to Dallas. So I'm going to go on my business trip to Dallas. And then when I get back, I have an appointment with my OB. I'll just ask her when I see her, which was later in the month. And so when I went to Dallas that year, I remember kind of slightly being worried and even asking my friends, can you pray for me? Because I have this hard thing on my neck, and what I read on the internet, it doesn't sound too good. I'm sure it's nothing, but I'm going to check when I get home. And so later on that month, I went to my OB appointment, asked her to look at it. And at that point, it was noticeable. And she said, yeah, that's more than 2 centimeters. I would definitely get that checked out. And so she referred me to a general surgeon. I went to the office. I got it biopsied right there. She did 5 pokes, 5 needle biopsy pokes. Yeah. And I got my response, and I think it was a few days later. I don't remember exactly, but I was having lunch with my doctor friend, and I got the call from this general surgeon. And so I put it on speaker since she was a doctor and she knew the lingo. And we were in the restaurant, we were in Toki, and I was told that I had, it was positive for cancer, but it was not the primary location. So I would have to go in for more testing. And I said, well, what could it be? Or she said, it could be head and neck, it could be thyroid, it could be breast, it could be lung. And I said, well, which one do I want? And she said, thyroid. Ouch. And so we were like, okay, we want thyroid. I want it to be thyroid. I didn't see it as sadness at that moment, but I don't know if it really hit me. Yeah. I hung up the phone with her, talked to my doctor girlfriend, and we discussed it. And she said, where do we go from here? And I said, I don't know. I guess I'm going to pray about it. And so that was the beginning. And then I did end up getting a CT scan. I was 3 months pregnant. So, they're very limited in things that they can do to find out what it is and where it is. And in my CT scan, I remember getting the phone call. I was at my sister's house and my family was all around. And she said, okay, it's something we didn't expect. It's one of the rarer cancers in the United States, and it's called nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Well, I don't know any, those are foreign words to me. Yeah, so as I was a doctor, I Googled nasopharyngeal, and sure enough, it was rare enough that there's no information on it hardly. And so I said, okay, thank you. And I just went on my merry way, and that's how it started.
With those events that were happening, mm-hmm. Obviously with you're getting this news, you're pregnant at the time, and that may have just definitely been another push for you to stay on a positive route, correct? And this is kind of where you started to do your research on the different ways to find some healing. Is that kind of how the story progresses, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, okay, so I'll answer that in two separate questions. As for being positive and staying in the positive route, if you know me and you've been around me, I've always been positive. I don't, there is 98% of people look at the problem and 2% look at the solution. Yeah, and I've always been one who, even to my kids, they come to me with something and I'm saying, I hear your problem. What's your solution? And I'm not a worrywart. So, and that's always been me. I've always naturally just smiled about everything and been positive about everything. And so I wasn't I wasn't sad. I was definitely positive in the way. Now, of course, nobody gets excited
Yeah.
about a
Yeah.
diagnosis, but
Exactly.
I did. I think I needed to really chew on it. I actually didn't. I don't think it hit me the seriousness of it,
Yeah.
because the way I am is, oh, we'll get over this, we'll get through this, and that's pretty. I mean, you fall down, you pick yourself back up, and
Yeah.
you just go. My son, my oldest son, he's 21 now, but I remember him at 12 saying to me, "Mom, I don't think you love us." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "We fall down, we get hurt, we are bleeding, and you just tell us to go put a Band-Aid on it." And I really don't do the whole lot of babying, so I
Yeah.
I don't do it myself either. Whining is not, it's a pet peeve of mine to hear people whine and for me to whine. And so I think just with that, because that's my natural personality, that I didn't dwell on what was going on and what it was. And I don't think I really realized the seriousness of it until I spoke with, someone put me in touch with their friend in Louisiana who was an ENT doctor, ear, nose, and throat, and she worked in the oncology department. So she saw this kind of cancer.
Yeah.
And she actually called me because my friend asked her to. And when we spoke about it, she said, are you getting chemo? Are you getting radiation? What are you doing? And I said, no, I'm not getting any of those. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, I want to pray about it. And she said, you can't wait, especially if you're pregnant. She said, you'll die before your pregnancy.
Yes.
And I don't believe you can't just be lackadaisical about it. And when she said that to me, I think that was when I realized that it was serious.
That was a wake up.
It was a wake up call, because I hadn't really gone to any other doctors that said. She was the first person to tell me, if you don't do something about this right now, you'll die before you give birth, even if you tried to go early.
Yeah.
And so when I got off the phone with her, I was in my bedroom. I mean, that's when the tears came.
Yeah.
Sure. And then that's when I said, okay, this is serious, I guess. I immediately called. I have a lot of friends in the health and wellness industry, and fortunately, some of them are really, big leaders that they know people who are experts in nutrition and things like that. And I immediately called a formulator of one of the supplements I take. He's the formulator of the fruits and the greens, and he's on television and radio, and he works with people who are fighting cancer. And so I really trusted, if I called him, what do I do?
Yeah.
His name is Dr. O'Donnell, and I immediately called him. He talked to me, and I went in my office, and where it was quiet, I took out a piece of paper and I said, okay, doctor, tell me what to do. And he said, first thing, cut sugar. Can't put it in your mouth. Anything with any kind of artificial sugar, refined sugar, anything like that, you can't have it. And at that time, it's ironic because, with each pregnancy, I've craved something different. And with this particular pregnancy, I craved candy bars.
Chocolate?
Candy bars, full on candy bars.
Wow. Well,
I had a drawer full of candy bars. And so I was eating a candy bar a day. So I gave into my cravings and I didn't think twice about it. I was eating M's and Snickers and blah, blah, blah. And so he says, can't have sugar, can't have this. And he went through a list. No, this, no, this, and this. I mean, it was a long list. I still have it somewhere, probably in my office. And I said, well, what can I have? And
celery.
He said, you have to flood your body with greens. You have to flood your body with greens. And he said, you can beat this. And that was, wow. Huge. And so I said, okay,
nice.
Well, I believe you. And so, how much greens? And he said, that's your number one focus when it comes to what you're going to eat. And so he has a greens product that has 30 some greens in it. And he has a fruits product that has 30 some fruits in it. And he told me that I needed to at least get, and one scoop of the greens of his product is the phytonutrients is equivalent in one scoop to 9 dark salads.
Wow.
And 1 scoop of the fruits is equivalent to the antioxidants in 20 fruits. And he told me that I needed to have at least 8 scoops of greens a day,
Wow.
4 scoops of fruits a day. And in addition to that, I needed to make sure I was also getting raw vegetables in my diet. And so I said, okay. And it didn't take but that one conversation to where my mind flipped a switch that this is life now. And so there was no, people who go through the ups and downs of, cravings or desires, and, the flesh is weak, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so at that moment, I became rock solid strong, and nothing was going into my mouth if it didn't serve my body. And so, and I so then I decided, okay, I'll go to see find a doctor, right? So I went to an ENT, he did my biopsy, and just to confirm, and, they were going to send me to this oncologist and this radiation doctor. And I thought, well, I'm not liking what they're saying, so I'm going to go and find a doctor. And I was on my way to this institute that was going to teach my husband and I it was a 10-day program that we had bought into, and it was going to teach us how to eat raw and how to do raw vegan. And I thought, raw vegan, I don't know. But I at least wanted to learn, right? Started to learn. This was interactive in the kitchen, and this was all day long from morning to evening. The classes were for 10 days. They teach you how to sprout. They teach you how to ferment. They teach you.
Is this like a camp or some kind of retreat or something?
Yeah, you go to, this was in Atlanta. They have a 30-day program. They have a 10-day program, and I bought it. I could only afford the 10-day program. And so I figured if I could just get my feet wet with the information, I know how to read and I know how to, research. But I'm a show me person. And so when we were on our way to that class, I got a call from a doctor who was my friend's friend. Excuse me. He happened to be an ENT oncologist. He happened to work with the oncology department in ENT in the cancer unit here in Augusta. And he told me that it was serious also. And I remember asking him, are there any of his patients, because he dealt with head and neck, are there any of his patients that have gone the natural route? And he said one is trying to. He has tongue cancer and he's using cannabis. And he said, and this is exactly what he said, but it's not going to work. He said that I don't advise it. And so I thought, okay, well, thank you. I'll take your information into consideration. And I'm really just going to pray about it. And so, but I was hopeful because I already knew in my mind that God wouldn't give me more than I can handle. And so when we actually didn't get to stay for the whole 10-day program, we had to leave halfway through so I could make this appointment to go see those doctors, a group of doctors that they all kind of come into the room and look at you, and then they go to this conference room and they, they all have their plan, and then they come out and tell you their plan. And so that was the last set of doctors I ended up going to. They didn't tell me good stuff either. They just tell me that
this is all for surgery. What they're going to do for surgery?
Well, no. So the surgeon comes in and looks at you, the oncologist, everybody, and the students. And the surgeon said that it was not surgery wasn't an option. One, because of the locations, it was all the way in the back of my nose to where it meets my throat.
Okay.
And being pregnant, and to the location, surgery is not an option. And it was already in my lymph. So it wasn't just in my nasal pharynx. So it wasn't just in one location. So just for risk purposes, it wasn't, if they weren't sure that they could get all of it out, surgery's not.
They weren't going to do it.
So that wasn't, I did see the oncologist. And then he told me what his plan was, and talked to me about the radiologist. And basically, they said up front that they said, honestly, you're the first pregnant woman we've dealt with. So
wow,
we're going to try to do this, and we're going to try and give you chemo that is for breast cancer patients and blah, blah, blah. And then immediately was like, oh no, I'm not an experiment, you know, but I knew the healing power of the body. So even though I was open to hearing their opinion and what their plan was, I went home and I knew that that wasn't what gave me peace.
Yes.
Chemoradiation, but wasn't what gave me peace. And I remember leaving there and saying, okay, Lord, if chemo and radiation is the way I have to go, because your plan is better than my plan, and I don't know, I just have my idea, idea that I do chemo and radiation. But if that's the way I have to go, and that's part of your plan, then give me peace about it. Because I don't about it. But if I can go this alternative route, because I do believe in the healing power of the body, if I can go this alternative route, I just ask that you will open the doors for me to the information, to the people, to the resources, and I will jump through hoops and do exactly what you tell me to do. And so, and I knew also that it wasn't just my decision. You know, of course, it's, my husband's in this with me, right? So together we made the decision that going the natural route was what was going to be for us. And so, again, I want to say that, you know, people who choose the other route, I don't say that that's the wrong route. If that's the route for them and that's what gives them peace, then that's the route for them. It just wasn't for me. And so, and honestly, James, the doors opened wide, and the information, the right information, the right people, the resources, they all came exactly when I needed it. And I just believed that this was, God had bigger things for me, and that I would get through it. Didn't know how long. I did ask and say, okay, could you at least give me a timeline? And that didn't work. And I did have a lot of confirmation too, that people would come up to me and tell me that, I mean, crazy things. I mean, they would say, you know, the Holy Spirit told me that you're going to be fine. Or, you know, someone came up to me and said, would you mind if I, you know, did a healing, you know, over you? And this lady didn't know me. And she was actually in another country when I happened to be in Florida one day. And I said, and I do believe in the Holy Spirit. And one of the gifts is the power of healing. And so I said, you have the gift of healing? Absolutely. Where do you want me to sit? You want me to sit? You want me to lay down? What do you want me to do?
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Now, of course, you know, I don't know where she gets her source and power. So I've said a prayer of protection over me. And she told me afterwards, she said, I've had this gift since I was little. And she said, but I don't tell, people don't know. I only offer it to the people that God tells me to.
Wow.
And I said, me? And she said, he told me to offer it to you. And so we became friends after that. And those are just small, I mean, it was over and over. I had people come to me and tell me, I had a dream and I dreamt that you were healed. Another one of my friends said, I had a dream and I dreamt that the things on your neck just melted away. I mean, so it was just, each time I was in a moment of, okay, God, am I, you know, are you there? Don't leave me. I need to see you. I need to feel you. I need to hear you. He would send somebody to tell me
the signs.
Don't worry, I'm right here. So.
Wow. And I remember the last talk that you were broadcasting. you were talking about, and I hope I heard it correctly, letters. There were some letters that you received that I wanted to ask you about it, if you could share that story, because I thought that was pretty amazing that you know, not only are these things happening around you that are subtle, but they're happening, and you're taking notice of it, and you're using it to build towards, obviously, the end goal of healing yourself. So you're taking the flow, you're seeing the opportunities, and I'm listening to that, and this letter came up, and I wonder if you can explain that to everybody out there.
Yeah, actually, you know, it's funny because don't put it past God, right? If you ask him for something, he does answer prayers. Now, it may not be in your timing, but does God work in time? And so one of the things I would always say to my friends, or just, you know, cutting up, not ever believing it would actually really happen. I guess my faith was that small. How, you know, when we think we have a lot of faith until, you know, you look back and think, why didn't I believe that it wasn't possible, right? But
Yeah.
I used to tell my friends, I wish God would just write me a letter and just tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me this and do this and do this, and then, you know what I mean? And so the first time, and gosh, my parents had gone out of town, and, you know, we have this thing at our church that's called adoration. And basically you sit for an hour and you just adore, and you just sit in the presence of Jesus, and you sit. I mean, you know, I guess you can do whatever you want. You can read, you can pray, you can whatever, you can just sit. As if, I like to think about it like this. If a loved one was in the hospital and you go to visit them, they don't have to be awake to entertain you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you don't have to keep talking to them. You're just there.
Yeah. Your presence
Yes,
is there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we do in adoration is we're just present with Jesus, right? And so my parents, they go every Thursday, and I don't know, they were out of town for something, and they asked me if I could cover for them. Like, that's their commitment. So they asked me if I could cover for them for that hour on that Thursday. And I said, sure. So I show up, and I mentioned my journal, and journaling is not fun for me. Writing is not fun for me, but I decided to bring it along. It's like, okay, I got an hour. What am I going to do for an hour? Maybe I'll be inspired to write in my journal. And so I actually sat there through the hour, not writing anything. And when I left, you know, they closed it up. There was nobody left in the church. And outside of our church, there's this bench. And I don't know what it was that made me sit on that bench and decide to journal that day. And as I was journaling, it's so weird, James. As I was journaling, I literally I'm writing. And all of a sudden I put quotation marks. Yeah. And in the quotation marks, I just start writing like whatever's coming to my mind, I'm writing, as if I'm writing a note to myself. Okay. And it's not a note to myself. And I knew what was happening at that moment. Wow. And I just kept writing. And as soon as it was done, I put quotation marks to end the quotation marks, right? And immediately after that, in my journal, I put, OMG, how did that happen? Wow. And I immediately I finished up my writing, and then I went right back into the church, and I just fell to my knees and was like, wow, I can't believe that just happened, and thank you. And are you wanting me to read it, or you wanted me just to tell you about it?
We want to know what it says. What did it say?
Okay. Sure. Okay, wait. Let me find. I have my bag, and it has my journal. Give me a second.
You okay to say it, though? Is that cool? Or
I'm cool.
Okay. Wow. And if you're tuning in, you're watching this live, folks. This is, excuse me, these are some stories that are pretty amazing and definitely credible. You know, if you know Joline, her family, you know, she's not going to be up here talking story. These are life events, and this is another reason why we wanted to talk about this on the show today. You know, these things happen, miracles do happen, and this is a great example of something that came to reality and manifested, and it's here today. We're talking about it. Joline's telling the story.
Thank you, for definitely getting me out of my comfort zone, right? I did say that sharing my thoughts was a hard thing for me to do.
You're doing great, ma'am. You're doing great.
Thank you. Okay, let me find it. I didn't already have it because I didn't know I was going to be reading it, but
it's okay.
So I'll quickly. This was August. When was this? Wednesday, August 10th. Or no, is it? No, it was Thursday. Just kidding. Thursday, August 11th. Okay, so if you see here, I have I don't know. It shows it backwards.
It's a handwritten. Wow.
Oh yeah, handwritten.
There you
Okay.
go.
Let's see. Where was it? Okay, I have not looked back at this, honestly.
It's okay.
So,
You can
I
just
don't know
give
if
it.
it's gonna
You
be
can. You can just
secret.
give us the gist. You know,
Okay.
you have to do verbatim.
Uh, let's see.
Again, like what was kind of the message that was flowing there? Because that's kind of what I picked up on. You know,
Yes.
you were writing, and it's something that came through you, and it wrote some information down. Definitely
Okay.
to help you, obviously.
Hold on. I have to find.
Because I bet you whatever that was written down, it definitely, you know, opened your eyes some more. It was one of those moments that you can use as a moment of truth and go, wow, you know, this was one of them times. And again, I'm just mystified that you're able to see these different points and realize it, as well as have the foresight to put it in your journal as well, to you know,
Right. Okay.
tell
So
the story.
as I'm trying to read where I started, I have to read this real quick because it's August 10th. And like I said, I haven't gone back to read my journal.
Wow.
I was just journaling because someone told me it would be a good idea. And if I died, maybe somebody would read it. My family would know where my thoughts were and that it was not, you know, I was okay. So I'm just going to read a little bit of August 10th. And the reason I want to is because it's amazing what I wrote down and thinking about what I'm doing right now with you.
Wow.
Okay, so Wednesday, August 10th. This is 2016, by the way. My attitude for the day was sour. Why? I'm not sure. I listened to Lisa Nichols speak about my calling. You know, she's a motivational speaker and she asked about your calling.
Yeah.
So I continue to write. I have a message inside that is not mine to keep. I welcome the possibility that God calls me to reach out, tell my story, and inspire hope. I like the idea of it, but I find myself resisting it. Why do I keep resisting it if I know that it is His plan and His plan is better than mine? I pray daily for Him to reveal His plan to me or to help me come to know my purpose. He nudges me, but I resist. I resist because I perceive it all as too hard or I don't know where to begin. He sends me the information on how to make a plan and carry it out, and I still resist. Lord, give me the energy, clarity, and ease to carry out your plan for me. Okay, so that was the day before.
Wow.
And I read that just now. I mean, I was just reading over it right now while I was trying to find what I wrote on that Thursday.
Yeah.
I say it because look here, you're pushing me to speak out about my message.
You're pushing yourself. I'm just a little
Okay.
bit of, I'm a little bit of a door for you. That's about it.
Okay. Okay. So right before this, what I wrote on this day, I was reading this book called Radical Forgiveness. And if people have not heard of the book or, you know, looked into the book, it's definitely worth buying or Audible or book in hand.
Yeah.
But it helps you to go over, you know, one of the things about healing with any disease, but most especially cancer, if you go the holistic route, they talk about is emotional healing.
Uh-huh.
And so somebody told me I should buy this book called Radical Forgiveness. And I did. And so I was reading it. And anyways, I'm going to start. Let me see.
Start at the air quotes.
At the air quotes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To love. So I was just writing in my journal about radical forgiveness.
Yeah.
And learning how to love the way God loves. And And then here's my quote. To love like I love has no attachments, no judgments, no expectations, no anger, no resentment, no justification, and is not earned, but freely given with a total and complete heart. To love like I love requires total surrender and done with peace and joy.
Wow.
To love like me, you must release all these things and trust. Why would you choose to hold on to those things that do not bring you joy and only bring you despair? I have already forgiven you. Now it's time that you forgive you. Also, forgive those that you are angered with the way I forgave you. It is far better on the other side. Do not live in agony. I need your heart to do my work. I am calling you to something greater, but I need you first to be disciplined and purified. It is my desire to use you to build my kingdom, and your resistance is not necessary.
Wow.
I have a plan for you. Will you trust me? Then let it go. Let the hurt go. Rest in my arms, my lovely child. You are pleasing to me. It will be all right. Release it and cry unto me. Believe that I make all things right. I desire you, and your hardened heart is an obstacle. When you are ready, my child, I will be patient, but know that it'll be easier with a heart flowing with love. It is okay, my child, to grieve the things you have lost. Trust me that I can make all things better. I have allowed these things, for I needed to groom you for this journey I call you to. Come, take my hand and follow me. I call you to great things, and I am happy with you. That's it.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. If you just witnessed that with me live here, folks, I don't know, but I got some warmness there, man. This is all part of that message that's coming out now, Joline. It's evident that you have to talk more and tell your story and everything that's connected, from nutrition to faith to the different signs that only a fool would not see, that it's right there in front of you, right? It's right in.
I mean, that really speaks loudly to me as I read it. I'll have to tell you, the second letter was when I was actually on the airplane from Atlanta to Tokyo when I was headed out of the country just this past August. Is it amazing that both of them were in August?
Yeah.
And my birthday's in August. I don't know. Actually, this was on my birthday. It was August 24th.
I got chills on my spine.
You know what? I didn't even realize that until now that I'm saying it. So I wrote it in Evernote because I had my phone with me as I got on the plane, and I was just so overwhelmed with, I don't even know how to explain it. I didn't even know how I was going to get out of the country, the amount of money I needed to raise in a week and a half, and it came through. My friends and family and others just were so generous, and I hadn't attached myself to going because I wasn't sure if it was going to happen financially. But when it did, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine. Her name is Sherry. Right before I got on the plane, and I was just so filled with gratitude.
Yeah.
And when I got on the plane, I decided, you know what, I'm going to write my feelings down before. This was towards the very end of my cancer journey. So I remember this day and how much gratitude I have for the people who have really helped me get here. And so I started, typing. I won't be able to read it to you right now because it's on my Evernote in my phone, and
it's fine.
we're using my phone. And like I said, I'm technically challenged. I don't know how to get it.
It's
I'll
cool.
have to print
It's cool.
it up and do it on another podcast or another live, because it really was a great message.
We'll save it for the next round. How's that sound?
Yeah, I can tell you what, this particular one I just read was a message for me.
Yeah.
the one that's on Evernote is not a message for me. It's a message for everyone else.
Wow.
And basically what he said was exactly it was the message that he wants me to share with others. And it does have to do with love. So it kind of goes with that, but this one I just read was for me. And so I haven't gone back to that one either because I hadn't been ready
Hey,
to go out and share the message, but I am now. So I'm going to definitely have to print it out.
it's very, very powerful. Very powerful, man. So that message, yeah, you can't contain that. You can't keep that to yourself, especially, especially if you want to do it. You know, that's that's the other aspect. You know, people can receive messages, but if they're not sharing the information or want to, then there's kind of a barrier. But it looks like
Right.
you know, from us talking, you know, previously last week and kind of today, how things are flowing is you're getting that platform now. You're starting to take those steps to really, you know, say what you need to say, and definitely love is a huge part of that. That's kind of why we're doing this.
Right.
That's
So
why
I'm letting
people.
down. And so I really do want to do what God calls me to do. I want to be a good steward of my blessing. And so I truly am blessed to have overcome the big C. And so I guess whatever it takes, right?
You're going to keep going. You know, it doesn't stop today. You know, the journey is still happening, and we can definitely see that. Like I told you when I spoke to you, you know, obviously we know each other, but I've been following the story since you first came out and basically revealed to the world yourself. And I thought that was very powerful. It was real. This is what matters to share to people out there watching now as well as later on. These are the things that hopefully, like when you wrote the first letter, you know, these are the signs that people need to see to go, hey man, you know, I need to either help somebody or help myself.
Right.
Everybody needs that message, and definitely, yeah, you're doing it today, and congratulations again on taking those steps and making it happen. You know, leave that other story for another talk. Obviously, that's fine. You know, that keeps us that gives us something to look forward to. But you know, for those of you that are watching, you know, I hope you're taking a lot of this information. Again, you know, on the show, you know, we talk a little bit. You know, we'll talk about our families and some other things. But what you're seeing right now was did we say we were going to do something like this, Jolene?
No, uh, this is a this is a no, we didn't have any kind of plan on what
No,
we were going to talk about or
we
what we were going to.
we
So
had a little, you know, obviously we had that focus idea, but we, you know, like I told you, it's going to flow, man. It's going to work. And I think you're doing excellent. You're doing very well. There's some other things that you're doing with in the case of helping the body heal itself. You have access to different. Obviously, you're talking about some supplements, as well as I know we were talking about a machine, a circulation machine. Maybe you can tell some of the viewers out there that may have different ailments that can help them with this particular piece of technology that is available.
okay, so yeah, it wasn't just one thing. I know there are lots of things you can research if you're in healing cancer naturally. Some people will say grape juice, and then done. They were healed, or apricot seeds, or
Hallelujah.
something like that, right? No, for me, it was not one and done. So I did a lot, and so a couple of the things that I'll share. One is I do use a superfood nutrition, and if you want more information on the exact superfood nutrition I use and what might be good for you and what you have going on, or if you just want to be well and not have to get the diagnosis or these chronic diseases, feel free to message me, private message me and say, please call me and leave your phone number. I want to know more about your superfood nutrition. And I'd be happy, to share that. As for the blood circulation machine, same thing. If you want to know specific information about the machine that I use, I'll be happy to send you that information. But what it does is you lie on this pad, you don't feel anything, a signal goes through your body, and it actually just helps. So you have 74,000 miles of tiny vessels in your body that blood flows through.
Yeah.
So most people know only about, not that they only think about the arteries and the veins, right? So if you think about the arteries and the veins as the trunk of the tree, those are important.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones. But think about, you have one trunk, but you have how many branches, right? You have lots and lots of branches that all these leaves go off of, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about in your body, you have 74,000 miles of tiny blood vessels.
Wow.
That, your every cell in your body needs nourishment. And as you age, these tiny vessels, your capillaries, they get more and more clogged. And as they get clogged, you start to have some, problems, right? With a lot of things. But if you have fresh blood coming to all your cells, right? Then it brings oxygen to your cells. It brings nutrients to your cells. It cleans out the toxins from your cells.
Yeah.
And so with this particular machine, and I want to be real compliant, so I can't really say like medical, conditions, because the FDA is really hard on what you can say in public on live, big things. But basically, I have it to oxygenate. Better circulation helps everything. You can go to your doctor and ask your doctor, how would better circulation help me? And they're like, there's nothing that better circulation doesn't help, right?
Yeah.
So this particular machine, within 90 seconds, so what it does is it helps those small muscles. So the small muscles in your tiny vessels go like this, and it's called vasomotion, and it brings blood through those vessels. And so what the machine does is it sends a signal through your body, and it helps those muscles draw blood through there. So if you have slow moving through particular capillaries or vessels, it will help to improve it there. And so, and if you have like blocked ones, 90 seconds, it helps to move blood through there in 90 seconds. So for people who do have problems with blood circulation, it's amazing. And I do offer this in my office. Unfortunately, they don't ship the machine to Guam. That was one of the first things I looked at. I was like, gosh,
again.
I know. But if you live in the United States, I could definitely help you get your own machine. And I think every household needs their own machine, but I offer it in my office for those people who don't want to get their own machine. And if you have things that are, past injuries or places you need healing, you put the accessory on that area, and it brings blood to that area. And better blood flow brings faster healing and recovery to that area. I use it on my kids. I use it on myself, and I can just tell a difference. I sleep on it. So that's one thing. I have a lymphatic detox. Most people, and I didn't learn about the lymphatics until this journey, but the lymphatics, oh my goodness. The lymphatic system is one of the most I think it's the most understudied system in the body, but it's one of the most important. It's where your fighting cells run. It's where your immune system runs. It's your cleaning system. It's your waste removal system. So if you have cancer, if you have a virus, you have any kind of, something going on with your body that's not supposed to be going on with it, foreign things, it's your attacker cells that are in this system that go eat it up and filter it out. And your body's supposed to naturally be able to get rid of these things, get rid of the cancer, get rid of the viruses and things like that. So keeping clean lymphatics is really, really important. There are lymphatic drainage massages. You can do skin brushing. You can buy a little trampoline, one of those small little round trampolines, and jump on it, because the lymphatic system does not have its own pump. And so you need movement to move your lymphatics.
Okay.
So you jump up and down. You can do jumping jacks, jump rope. There's something called a chi machine. I have a chi machine in my office, and it moves your lymph. Now, the special thing about the particular machine that I have is one session is equivalent to 5 to 8 lymphatic drainage massages.
Wow.
And the machine that I have actually can find congestion. When it finds congestion in your lymphatics, then it actually breaks it up, and then we move it to its filtering point. So if you think about a highway,
Yeah.
you know, in the States, we got the interstates, right? In Guam, you got Marine Drive. So,
It's so big.
I know. And so let's say you're going down the highway and you get into a car accident.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can't do anything. You need an ambulance to come and get you and give you something or take you to a hospital, right?
Yeah.
So if we're thinking about our lymphatics, and let's say the car accident is something that's making you sick, or, you know, some illness, right? And if there's congestion because there's cars, you know, it's traffic time.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, there's a traffic jam. The ambulance can't get to you fast, right? It has to go through the traffic jam, which takes a long time, right, to be able to get to you. And the longer you're waiting for that ambulance, the sicker and sicker you're getting.
Gotcha.
Right? You're dying, right? But if there was no traffic jam and there was just an easy flow and the ambulance can get straight to you, pick you up, take you to the hospital, or do whatever you need done, then boom, you're fixed and you're on your own. You're ready to go, right? So
that would be awesome.
Yeah. So you don't want congestion. You don't want a traffic jam. And that's kind of like your lymphatics. If you have, your lymph is supposed to be water-like, but I think the percentage, I think it's 97% of Americans that have congested lymph. And so,
Wow.
I've had a lot of on my table, and there are very, very few people who are super clean and have no congestion.
Yeah.
And those people, they cleanse, they eat clean, they exercise. But I would say that the statistics are right. 97% do have congested. They got traffic jam. So if you got a traffic jam, you know, your immune cells, your attacker cells, your white blood cells, all of those aren't going to get to the things to kill the stuff that you want.
They're getting overworked, right?
They're getting overworked, and you're getting sicker and sicker. And so you want clean lymph. So if you're close to me, I highly encourage you to come and get a service on this machine, because it's super duper. If you're not close to me, maybe you can message me what city you're in, and I can see if there's a machine like that, if somebody offers that service where you live. Guam, I know there's not one yet, because I actually got trained by the co-creator of the machine and the trainers of all the therapists, you know, most of the therapists that are doing this machine. And they said, Guam, yep, nope, not there. So
not yet.
I do hope to bring these things to Guam.
There you go.
You know, time soon.
We need it. We need it.
It's in my goals. Yes, I know we do. So, any other questions?
That question was actually good. Again, I think there's a lot of different components in the talk. We have you know, technology to help beat the cancer. We have nutrition to help beat the cancer, and we have yourself believing in your faith as one of the prime motivators to get you on these different paths. Actually, where Joline is at now, she's, you know, taking the opportunity to spread that message. And I hope the viewers out there, if they themselves are going through something similar, you know, these are some best practices or something beyond the scope of probably what you're getting already. Because you know, whoever has gone to the doctor, they always kind of get that 10-minute, you know, in and out. Okay, you have to do this, take these. As far as you know, my personal view on some of these things, and we went down real quick. Let me try to get her back. Sorry about that. Maybe she hit a wrong button. I'll send her the invite again. Sorry about that, folks. We lost Joline. We're trying to find out if we can get her back in the room. So hold on for a moment. Hopefully her phone didn't die. Gonna see if I can get her on this side. Again, if you're watching, welcome. We're just trying to get Joline back in here. Something happened. She dropped for some reason. And we were in the middle of the conversation about some of her story. And trying to get her back inside here. Having some technical difficulties right now. So hold on for a moment. It was all going so well. Try to get her back in here. Just hold on for a moment. I'm just checking my other computer system. Not sure if that's going to work. Okay, we're going to go ahead and restart and find out what's happening. Maybe a connection issue, we'll see. But we'll be right back, folks. Give us a couple minutes to figure out what's happening.